Welcome to a Zoom call-ins episode of Reader Seeks Romance Channel's Romance Roundup, the #1 romance book recs talk show. I am Liz Donatelli.
And I'm Libby Kay, author of the sweet romance series Buckeye Falls and the new romance series Pine Grove FD. The first installment, When Sparks Fly, is out now.
Stopping by the Zoom room today are authors Leonie Mack, author of bicycle sports romance Head Over Wheels, and Meredith Schorr, author of rom-com Roommating. Watch Romance Roundup on Reader Seeks Romance Channel and subscribe on YouTube. Listen to Romance Roundup on PodBean and all podcast apps. Follow us on Instagram at LibbyKAuthor and at Reader Seeks Romance.
Hello, Liz.
Hello, Libby. And hello to coal miner cowboy Little Jimmy, Romance Roundup's official mascot.
Hello, Libby and Liz. Let's talk about romance books.
And it looks as if Leonie Mack is in the Zoom room. Let's let her in.
Hello.
Hello. Hey.
Hello, Leonie. You were a pretty frequent guest on Reader Seeks Romance interview show. So I'm really glad to catch up with you here on Romance Roundup.
I'm so excited to meet you.
Libby has a ton of questions about Head Over Wheels because her husband, who goes by the alias Trent K, to her Libby K, is he's a competitive cyclist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to let Libby take it from here, and then we could catch up again at the end, Leonie, when I ask you what romance recs you have.
So, Leonie, for those who may have missed the previous show where I gushed about my excitement over Head Over Wheels, can you share just a little bit about what it's about and when it's coming out?
It's coming out on the 19th of June, which is getting to be quite soon. And it is a sports romance. So in the real vein of spicy sports romance, but with cycling. So there's no buff guys.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of lycra.
Ooh la la.
So there's a kind of a secret identity at the beginning where they meet online anonymously. I don't know if your other half has an indoor training set up for his.
Yes, he's actually on it right now. I hope you can't hear him huffing and puffing in the other room.
Yeah, so the setup is they meet online as an anonymous simulation and get to know each other that way. And then that's all sort of in the lead up to the book, but you see little snippets of it throughout the book. And then through the book kind of starts when they meet each other in real life and how that plays out. And there's a lot of the weird superstitions that cyclists have about their seasons and their clothing and their rituals. So there's kind of a theme running through the book that there's all the sort of weird superstitions, and it's got one of my favorite tropes, the bang it out of our systems trope.
So that's the name of that trope. So there's actually a name to that trope.
I'm educating Liz.
Well, I know that that's the thing that happens. It's like, oh, let's just get it out of our systems. But I guess I didn't realize it's called bang it out.
That's what I've been calling it.
Bang it out. Okay.
And that's what we should all call it.
Yeah.
I think that's what the character says in the book as well. So,
so there's some salty language in this.
This is so. I mean, I have one of my self-published books. Also, actually, and my most recent travel romance. Also, suddenly, I'm getting all my Australian female main characters out of me. Previously, I don't know. I started out writing real escapism, and I didn't want to write Australian characters, and then suddenly they all started coming out. So she's Australian, and so she's very potty mouthed. I don't know if you know any Australians, but some colourful language.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had quite a lot of fun, and her writing her dad as well, because her dad runs the team basically.
Oh, okay.
The family dynamics in it are quite fun. Her brother is a minor character as well, and I've written his book too.
Also, the brother gets a book.
Is that going to be more cycling?
Yeah. So yeah, at this point it's just two cycling books, but it is a redemption arc for him, which will be lots of fun. Because if you read the book, you'll find out why the brother needs a redemption arc. He's kind of a troublemaker in this book. It's basically a whole lot of the world tour races. So we get to go to Siena, we get to go to a couple of different places in Belgium, and then of course we end up in Italy and France. As in, I invented a Tour de France. yeah, and then some of the final scenes of these iconic climbs in the French Alps, and yeah, so
Oh yeah, no.
it's still got some of my love of European settings in it. I love sports romance. It's something that got me into writing because I wrote kind of 2.5 books in a planned trilogy in 2007.
Oh wow, okay.
Obviously that's a long time ago. Nothing ever happened to them. But that was about like Premier League football, so English soccer.
Right.
And they're kind of inspired by, at the time I was reading a lot of the Chicago Stars books by Susan Elizabeth Phillips.
Oh
And
yes, I love her.
yeah, she's like really one of my early influences on romance writing. So I just started writing these football romances, and that was the first thing really it's the first thing I ever tried to actually get published, but it was not the right time and I was not a good enough writer, etc. But it's just funny because I kind of feel like I'm returning to my roots with this, but it also ended up being kind of random.
My husband jokes all the time that he said if I don't know if we will. He's not real. He used to write for Peloton magazine, so
Oh yeah.
he's obviously very cycling focused. And we always joked that we would write a cycling romance because no one ever did it. And then as soon as Liz told me a few weeks ago, he's just like, "When are we going to read this book together?" Like so he is super excited for this, and the fact that you're talking about like the tour and the monuments and stuff. So
Yeah.
do you write as well, or you just follow the sport?
I'm a fairly recent convert to cycling. I kind of was more of a grassroots cyclist myself. I shouldn't admit this. My bike is 18 years old.
Oh.
Wait, did you say 80 or 18?
18,
Oh,
which
I
is
thought
bad.
you said 80.
Yeah.
No, but it's still bad. Like that's what I actually ride.
Well, if it works.
But that's because for me cycling is I need to go into the center of the city, so I get on my bike and I go there.
Mhm.
So it's not really I don't really get on my super get on my racing bike or my gravel bike or
Yeah.
yeah, and I haven't really done much racing. So as in watching it, I started watching, sort of following the cycling a couple of years ago, and that's probably why there was a sort of spark of something because I was quite new to it. Yeah, so it's hopefully a good thing for the romance reader. Like I hope there's enough. What I wanted to get in it, and what I was talking a lot to my agent about was this what's great in a sports romance is the jeopardy. If you just have a little bit of, because obviously you have will they, won't they? That's the heart of the romance. But in sports romance, you can kind of also have this whole, but what's going to happen in their sporting career? Will they win? And that was quite a fun angle to play with. And then obviously, as the writer, I had to decide who wins what when, which is a bit of a challenge. I hope everyone approves of my choices.
Yeah. Well, I think the fun thing with cycling races, especially if it's stage races, things can change every day. And so I bet as a writer, that gives you a little bit of flexibility. It's not just like one football match or one football game. Or
I quite enjoyed including a few of the classics and the monuments in this one, partly because I wanted to have this sequence set in Siena. And so that's the Strada Bianchi, and then that just made sense. And then just including a few others. Those one-day races were a little bit easier to write. Actually, when I got to the actual Tour de France, I was like, oh gosh, this thing is so long and so much happens, and yet sometimes so much doesn't happen. Like
it depends. Well, if Tadej Pogačar is in the race, then nothing's happening, and we just sit back and watch him take over. He's my husband's favorite. In his opinion, I'm more of a Wout van Aert fan. I know he's a different type of racer. So there's different types of cyclists. There's climbers who are really, really, really skinny, and they're usually the ones that win the Tour de France. But then you have the sprinters, and they're not stocky. They're stocky compared to other cyclists. So I don't know. They have, I don't know. Everybody's like wearing Lycra, and but I know to the outside world, it's like, what are you talking about? Wout van Aert, giddy up.
Okay, so you mentioned Wout van Aert.
Wout van Aert, yeah. Wout, and then Van, and I think it's Aert.
And who was the other one? Bob? Did you mention a Bob?
No, there's Tadej Pogačar. Adej, I think is his first name. My husband is
Slovenian.
obsessed. This kid is insane. He's winning everything. It's almost not fun to watch because he just rides away with it. And I'm like, well, I guess we'll just watch like the French and Belgian countryside.
It's quite funny, the little sort of weird corners of the internet that have been crying out for a cycling romance. There is a Reddit thread saying, can we have a cycling romance?
So you did interact with readers or found readers who were demanding that someone write a cycling romance. Is that what you were saying?
Only when I was trying to get it published. I'd already written the thing without sort of imagining that there might be some editor at a publisher thinking, will romance readers want this?
Well, we've talked about it before, like even like last year, I think we had started talking about, if there was like a cycling romance, because last year we did a lot of sports romance related episodes, I believe. And we had talked about like, it would be great if there was a cyclist romance because
just some variety. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love hockey, but even I need a break from hockey.
Cyclists have very strong legs, so strong legs can accomplish a lot in the bedroom.
I did like there was a little sort of mini trend on some social media platform about rugby players' thighs recently.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
I think we're following the same corners of the internet.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, no, there was something else where someone was saying, are there any sports romances, and listed off a whole lot of sports. And then, of course, people chime in. And then someone was saying as an example, just, if one cycling romance got out there and made it big, then we'd have lots of other cycling romances. And that was their example. And I'm like, please let it be mine.
Oh, if I have anything to say about it, I'm going to tell everyone. Our niece actually is a competitive cyclist in Europe right now.
Awesome.
She rides
really?
for so I'm very excited.
Very nice.
We're seeing them in a week, so I'm going to tell everybody in our family, because we're all, well, my husband's side of the family are cycling crazy. So if nothing else, that's like 20 people right there.
I do love, there's one of my she's become, partly because of her presence on the internet, has become one of my idols. It's Alison Jackson. She's so amazing. She just won a stage race in Czechia.
Oh,
okay. This is a good sign. I'm taking that as a good omen. She's so positive and just so amazing, the internet presence. She's also I think she's in her mid-30s now, and she's still out there winning stuff. It's awesome.
That's amazing.
She's just like, I do this and I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I think she's wonderful.
Wow. Are you sending head over wheels to her?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I did mention it to the publisher, but I'm a little bit starstruck. So I don't know. I should have tried, maybe. I don't know. She did post a post once about reading a book, and I was kind of like, I wonder if she reads spicy romance.
Ooh.
Well, I think if there's any book that she's going to read, it's going to be Head Over Wheels. I would send it. You have nothing to lose.
I think anyone who doesn't know anything about cycling, there shouldn't be too much technical stuff in it. It's a romance and happens mostly off the road.
Right.
Well, and your timing is perfect because the tour starts in a month and a half, and
yeah, it actually starts 2 weeks after this comes out. So
perfect.
Yeah,
that's good marketing planning right there.
It is. Yeah, well, I hope it ends in a tie, and then the tiebreaker they take care of in the bedroom.
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my
What's your research look like? Now you've mentioned, going to the corners of the cycling internet. Do they have things like cycling Instagram or
gosh, yeah, you start looking things up and your algorithm is just cycling stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Could you watch on YouTube or even on television races and take notes about kind of what it looks like, how the routes go, or did you just do a lot of bicycling around town and go really fast and be like, imagine I was in a race?
Watch the Tour de France every day. We watch the last half hour, and on the weekend it will be it was kind of running all day. Yeah, no, I watched a lot of races, a lot of YouTube stuff, and interviews. You get some really, I find it really entertaining because the personalities are overwhelmingly kind of not native English speakers, and you just get this sort of really wide variety of accents and experiences. And there was quite a funny clip that I saw a couple of times about just this guy who didn't realize that what he was saying was actually considered inappropriate for television in English. Like he was using the wrong
Was he swearing? Was it one of the commentators they
Yeah,
got
yeah.
swearing?
No,
And
I
like,
mean, because he was using the wrong word for pee,
oh,
and they had to kind of say, oh, we're not allowed to say that
yeah.
on British television because he was on, and then he's just kind of throwing in a swear word because I don't know. A lot of the European countries as well are quite relaxed about swearing in English and their own languages. So it's just you get this sort of different cultures making their faux pas.
I'm super excited to read this. I know nothing about cycling. I haven't even ridden a bike in years and years and years. Last time I rode a bike, I rented one in New York and was riding it down by the Hudson River. And
That sounds picturesque.
well, it wasn't. They didn't have a bike that was for my size. So I looked like I was in the early 1900s, or was it the late 1800s, where you had
like a penny farthing?
Yes.
Bicycle, bicycle, I want to ride my bicycle.
Those big, like where you're sitting really high up and there's like one big wheel.
Yeah.
I was like sitting really high up and my tippy toes were pushing the pedals.
Oh.
So it was horrible. But anyway, so I can't even fathom the cycling world and what it takes to succeed. So I'm excited to read about the training and the sex.
The oh yes, that's the
the
most
bicycle
important part.
sex.
The tagline is love is an endurance sport, just because that rolls off the tongue. But so because it is as in it's road cycling, so it's endurance cycling.
Are there going to be any like sexy massage scenes? Because I know massages are a very big part in road cycling.
Well, I feel like we just got a glimpse into your life, Libby Kay.
The classic post-race footage is like the riders reclining on a bed with just a towel, strategic towel, having some guy massage their legs.
Yep.
Well, we're excited to read Head Over Wheels. Leonie, on Romance Roundup, we share romance book cracks. So, is there anything that you recently read that you would recommend? If it's anything sporty, that would even be on theme, but it doesn't have to be.
That's what I thought I would, the theme I thought I would choose. And I even wrote down a couple beforehand because, you have this horrible mental blank of what on earth was I reading last week? Yeah, I have been on a bit of a sports romance binge, also with a sort of a British angle because this book is coming out with a UK publisher. So I've recently enjoyed Clean Point by Meg Jones, which is a Wimbledon romance. Which it's a lot of fun. That's also spicy age gap like this one, so it was really good. I enjoyed Let the Games Begin. Now I have to that was the Olympics one. I did read that last year. That I have to get her name right, and now I wrote it down and now I don't have it in front of me. Rufaro Faith Muzarara is her name. So that's an Olympics sprinting romance. I enjoyed that. And then also I have started reading the English soccer football romances by Sasha Lace. Playing the Game is the first one, and they're just good fun. They're also it's a women's team, so the women are the players and the men are kind of to do with the team. Which is a fun twist. Yeah, exactly. And women's sport is interesting. I've got a woman in this one too. So actually, so is Clean Point. Clean Point is also two tennis players. She's a tennis player as well. I think it's I like the twist on that because then she also has the psychology of the pressure to win and to perform, to keep ahead. Yeah. I think they were the recs that I came up with when I was thinking about sports romance with a sort of slightly different angle that I've been reading recently.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited. I haven't read a good tennis romance in ages, so that's exciting.
Well, the second book of hers is coming out in August, Game Point, and that's a black cat female main character, which I'm very much looking forward to.
What's a black cat?
What does that mean?
As in she's a little bit feisty and a little bit zesty and a little bit kind of
I love that
sassy
description. Is that a British thing or is that?
I thought it was a romance thing.
Either way, I love it.
I thought it was a shifter romance. When you said she's a black cat, I was like, oh, she shifts into a black cat. That is not something that I've seen around
I love this.
town.
It's like this, black cat golden retriever thing.
The golden retriever,
the golden
yes.
retriever, yeah, I've never heard
So
of it.
if she's a black cat, he's a golden retriever. Yeah.
Black cat.
Today I learned.
Yeah, Leonie, you're a delight as always. But before we hang up, how's Germany been? How you're still in Germany, so it looks like are you there for the long haul?
Yeah.
Okay.
What part of Germany are you in?
Right in the middle, not too far from Frankfurt.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. No, it's I can cycle into town when I want to go into town. That's a big plus. Life seems to keep us here at the moment, so it's a good enough spot. I'm going back to the UK soon after this book comes out. Actually, I tend to go back about once a year, and then hopefully this time I might actually see my book on the shelves, which I've never seen before, because the couple of my books that got print runs, it was during COVID and I couldn't get over to the UK to see them, and since then I haven't actually had a print run for a while. They've only been coming out print on demand, so but this one hopefully will be in stores. So
excellent.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Leonie. It was wonderful to see your face and hear your voice and chat with you about Head Over Wheels.
It was so nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Libby. Yeah, thanks so much.
Bye, Leonie.
Bye.
We have Meredith Schorr in the room. Hi, Meredith.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
It was my pleasure.
It's good to see you again. You were a two-time guest on Reader Seeks Romance interview show.
Yes, I was.
So it's wonderful to welcome you to Romance Roundup.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes.
I'm excited to meet you. I remember when I read As Seen on TV and then Liz mentioned that we were going to get you on. I'm like, oh, yay.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yes, As Seen on
Very
TV.
exciting.
And then you were on for Someone Just Like You, roommating. I believe you teased when I chatted with you about Someone Just Like You. Can you share what roommating is about and when does it come out?
It comes out on June 10th, and my finished copies just came this weekend, so I'm really excited.
I'm obsessed with the cover. It is
I
so
love the cover.
Yeah, I do too.
And it's about Sabrina Finkelstein, who is a 24-year-old library student. She's studying for her master's, and she also works part-time as a library page at a branch of the New York Public Library System. And she lives with 72-year-old Marcia, who's not a relative. There's an app that connects younger people with older people with room to spare in exchange for like reduced rent in Manhattan, which somebody who is a grad student and a library page who's independent, financially independent, no help from her mom, like really needs. So it starts out as just kind of like that kind of relationship, but they become very, very close friends. And one night they're having dinner, and Marcia mentions that her estranged grandson, she wants to invite him to live with them for a little while, just temporarily, because he's having a hard time. He's in between jobs. He's Ivy League educated, very bright man, but doesn't really have any direction. And his dad and stepfather refuse to pay for this, what they call like his vacation from life. Even though it's kind of odd to like have this guy sleeping on the couch, Sabrina has her own guilt with her own grandmother. And so she doesn't want to stand in the way of Marcia reconciling and developing a stronger relationship with her grandson. So she says it's fine. And they hit it off pretty much right away. I mean, there's some ups and downs, but there's an immediate attraction and a bond. They both love to read and they both love Marcia, and they just really hit it off. But they don't want to do anything about it because it's awkward. He's here for his grandma. He's not here to have sex with his grandma's roommate, but eventually, things happen, feelings develop, but before they can really define the relationship, Marcia has a health scare. And I don't want to give away too much, but it becomes like a matter of like, what's more important, the relationship or like staying in that apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I love that the stakes sound so different than the usual stakes in a romance.
It's definitely more quiet and cozy. I don't know about quiet, but it's cozier. people have said than my other books.
I'm a librarian, so as soon as I read the description, I like freaked out and got all excited. So, are you a librarian? Did you do research on librarians? Or are you just a book lover and that was,
No, I did a lot of research. I mean, I am a book lover. I am a library lover, but I interviewed 3 different librarians and I went to 2 different orientations at the Pratt Institute that has a library program. One virtually, and then I actually went to the school and I went to another one. And by the time I left the orientation, I was so excited. Like I forgot that I was there for research. And I was, oh, I'm going to become a librarian. And it was like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You're a writer. Like you can't do anything else right now. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun research, which is one of the reasons why I knew right away that I wanted her to be a grad student. And I was like, well, what do I want her to be studying? What do I think would be fun to write? What do I think readers would like to read, to read about? And I was like, I don't want to make her like a finance person because to me, I don't want to talk about that. I didn't want to talk about tech because I know nothing about it. So I was like, let's do like a library student. So that way I could set a lot of this in a library, which is so fun.
Yeah.
I love it. So does a lot happen at New York Public Library?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. There's a lot of scenes in the library.
Oh, I'm so
Thank
excited.
you for not making Sabrina, your main character, a baker or an aspiring chef. Because
Liz has had enough of that.
I'm sure a lot of the books out there with chefs and baking and all that are just wonderful. But the minute I read a romance where it's like, oh, so-and-so is aspiring chef and wants to own their own bakery / winery / it's like, oh God, I said, no, I don't want to. And so thank you for not doing that.
Well, I'm horrible at cooking and baking. And I don't think I could ever do it authentically enough anyway. I'd be like lying about how, passionate she was because I want to eat it. I do not want to make it.
Yes.
Obviously, we talk a lot about different romance tropes on the show. And I'm going to tease Liz because I feel like the only reason she brought you on is because one of the odd sub-tropes I love is when people need a place to live.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's an interesting micro trope.
Exactly. I don't know where it came from, but I lean into it. So I'm very excited about that. But what other tropes as a writer do you like to write? Or is there something that you haven't written yet that you're looking forward to doing?
I like friends to lovers. I would like to do that. I've tried I love Second Chance. I love reading Second Chance, but my only 2 manuscripts that did not go anywhere were both Second Chance. So I feel like it's the universe telling me that I'm bad at it or something. So I would really like to write a Second Chance, but I think it would have to be like a second book in a deal so that it's already in and I don't have to like go out on submission because my luck has not been very good with Second Chance.
Well, fingers crossed for the future.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you get a second chance at writing Second Chance.
Oh,
So your character, Marcia, should we expect some kind of Golden Girls vibe, like maybe a Sophia or a Blanche or no?
No, Marcia is part of the reason why I wanted to write Marcia as 72 is because I have friends who are 72 and they're not elderly ladies with white hair and walkers. She goes to the gym. She is a romance too in this. She starts dating again. She's a widow. There's things that she doesn't know, so she's a little bit out of touch. Like she doesn't know all the techie stuff, which Sabrina helped her with. But she's cool and she's young and she's pretty. And I wanted to kind of redefine how people see early 70s because they're not, I feel like they're picturing them as these brittle old ladies who need like a cane and walkers. And there are some probably, but Marcia is not one of them. She's just city woman and she's really cool.
So the big difference between Romance Roundup and Reader Seeks Romance interview show is that this is all about romance book recs. Are there any romance books you recently read that you would like you would like us to recommend? You know what I think it is? I think talking to you, Meredith, I connect with my New Yorkness, but I go into the Italian New York, which I'm Italian. So it's like, I see you and it's like, oh, let's go. So do you have any romance book recs that you would like to recommend to us, to our audience?
Sure. Well, right now I'm actually reading The Love Simulation by Etta Easton.
Oh,
I actually have it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's like a follow-up, but not a sequel. It's in the same family as her debut, The Kiss Countdown.
Yep.
Oh,
And
yeah,
like
that's
she
what I
has to
love.
do a like Mars simulation to raise money for the library of her school. And she has this attraction with another teacher, but he happens to be the principal's son, and the principal does not like her. The principal wants to get rid of her and bring his son on as vice principal instead of her.
Oh.
But she's the vice principal. And so she doesn't trust him. She thinks he's there to like sabotage her, but she also thinks he's really hot. So there's like,
Of course he is.
and I'm only like, I think I'm about 100 pages in, and it's really, really good so far. I like her writing. And if I'm looking down, it's because I read so much that I can't keep track. So I just turned on like my Kindle to see if anything like stood out to me.
No problem.
I read Up Close and Personal recently. It's another forever release.
Who's the author on that one?
It is Anna Holquin. It's set in Manhattan, and it's so well done. I assumed that she was a New Yorker or spent like significant time here.
Right.
And I got so homesick because I moved to White Plains and I'm in the city, but I'm not in the city anymore. And it's like, I don't know. It was so well done, the vibes, that I got so homesick. And I found out listening to a podcast that she was on that she didn't live in New York and she doesn't really know New York well. She just did really, really good research, but she got the vibe, and it's not easy. So
It's not easy. Yeah.
But it's about a spin instructor who, like a Peloton, like a famous one. And it's between her and a journalist who's writing a story about her.
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
Really good mental health rep. Just, again, really great Manhattan vibes if you like a New York City book.
Yeah.
Slow burn, very slow burn. But the
Ooh.
payoff is nice.
Oh, nice. Now, I have a quick question. You mentioned with the love simulation that you were about 100 pages in. Would you say that 100 pages for you is enough for you to know, hey, I know that I'm going to love the rest of it. This is great. There's no turning back. I'm going to recommend it. Do you usually try to hit that 100-page mark before you start making those decisions? Like, oh, will I continue reading it? Will I recommend it?
Well, I think in a paperback, I don't know exactly. In ebook, I give it like 20 to 40%.
Okay.
And if I don't like it, I either DNF, or sometimes I really cheat and I go to 80% and just read the rest just to see, like if I'm really like having trouble, and I read the ending and then if the ending is really, really intriguing, maybe I'll go back and read more. But a lot of times, the reason I don't like something, I didn't really miss much that I needed to see.
That's a good point.
That's interesting.
But
So
it is,
there's
but it is cheating. I feel bad.
Interesting. Going to the 80% mark, the 80% cheat.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
that means I read, 60% of the book. Just I didn't read like from 40 to 80.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting tip.
But I mean, that makes sense because usually isn't that where the books are? I mean, I don't know. As a writer, that's where I struggle is the saggy middle. So
The
that
saggy middle. Exactly.
Cutting out
And
the
if it's
saggy
already
middle.
sagging for me at 25, 30%, I'm like, it's just going to get worse probably.
Yeah. Meredith responded to my offer to send my copy of Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. There was an episode like early in the season. I said, hey, I will send it to somebody. And I sent it to Meredith. So I've got all these romance books that I would like to share with our romance fans.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And one of those books is Butcher and Blackbird?
Yeah.
I did try it. I read about 70 pages. It's not for me. If someone out there would like to read it, I'd be more than happy to mail it to you free of charge with I'll even sign the book for you. So if you want a copy of Butcher and Blackbird, please email me at readersseeksromance. How far did you get?
I finished it.
Yes.
Did you like my little note telling you where I left off?
Yep, I saw that, and I was like, I liked it. I did not love it enough to read the rest of the series.
Okay.
I liked it enough to finish it.
Okay. Now, do you usually enjoy, because I'm not usually a dark romance person, so this was a total departure for me.
Same with me.
Okay.
I don't normally read dark. I like light, and I like when they have, issues and everything. I don't want them to be just fluff, but I do like more of like a light kind of feel, especially like now. The world is hard. Life is
Yeah.
hard. But it's odd because some of my favorite television shows are super dark. I'm fine with that.
Ooh, what do you like to watch? Not to get off topic, but now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Like The Last of Us.
Okay.
On Max. I watched Paradise on Hulu with Sterling K. Brown. That was another
I
really,
heard
really
that's
good
really
one.
good.
And they're all dark and they're all like dystopian, like bad things happening in the country. And I'm like, why am I liking this? Yeah. But I did there were things about it, The Butcher and Blackbird, that were very funny. Like I laughed out loud at certain parts.
Yes. And I couldn't explain. I was talking to Liz about it, and I was talking to my husband, and he's like, why do you like that? I'm like, I don't know, but I do.
But I mean, but you have to suspend reality because the FBI isn't after them. They never talk about being afraid of getting caught.
Never.
Once.
Never
Once. Which I thought was kind of strange.
That's true. I didn't even think of it that way. No, I can't explain it. I loved it. And then I was devastated when Liz didn't. So thank you for taking her up on her offer and circling back because I needed that.
Oh yeah, I wrote her. So I was watching the episode. I work and I go on YouTube a lot when because my office is tiny and I'm alone, when I'm in the office in Manhattan. And I like to have like something on YouTube to keep me busy. So I watch a lot of your programs.
Oh, you do watch a lot. Oh, I thought
you.
maybe I didn't want to assume you watched all of them. I just figured maybe you just randomly caught the one where I was offering.
I mean, I can't usually get to all of them, but I've watched a good number of them.
Oh, well, that's exciting. I thank you for that, Meredith.
I'm not as big of a fan as Emily.
Hey, you know Emily. Then just the fact that you know.
I mean, I am a fan.
Then you're a fan if you know Emily.
Yes, if you know Emily.
We have number one fan, Emily, in the Zoom room. Hi, Emily.
Hi. I just came in to tell you two how much I love you both.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Emily. We never get tired of hearing that. So you know what? I'm reading another dark romance called Lights Out.
Okay.
That Libby really loved, and I'm loving so far.
Okay,
good.
When I am done, I will send it to you.
Oh, cool.
And you can read another dark romance.
Okay.
And
well,
on
if
that,
both of you like this one, chances are I will too.
Yeah. So I'll do that. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And thank you for joining us on Romance
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you again for having me.
All right. Bye, Meredith.
Thank you. It's so nice meeting you, Meredith.
And that's our roundup. Thank you to authors Leonie Mack and Meredith Schorr. Watch Romance Roundup on Reader Seeks Romance channel and subscribe on YouTube. Listen to Romance Roundup on PodBean and all podcast apps. Thanks for joining us, romance readers.
Happy reading, everyone.